This conference will now be recorded.
Okay, so yesterday we saw how to design the synthetic profile and how to generate the data for the synthetic profile. Moving forward, we'll work on another kind of profile belonging to profile category, which is called formula profile. This is the profile, what we have also seen how it is working, but how it is actually created and how the data is generated in the formula profile. So that we have to see. Basically, we create formula profile. That means we create a profile with the profile category as formula profile. And in order to have the data for the formula profile, I mean, the profile will have the data, but we cannot enter data again in the formula profile. Like it's not like elementary profile where you can enter the data. You cannot enter data in synthetic profile. You cannot enter data in formula profile. In both the cases, the data has to be generated. So in the case of formula profile, data is generated, but this data is generated based on formula. And in order to have the data generated, you require input profiles. You require the input profile. So basically, one or many input profiles. So you can say formula profile is basically an output profile. Okay, that means you have input profile, which is containing the data, and on the data, a formula is applied. A formula is applied. This formula is in the form of a model program. So you have the input profile, and on that a formula is applied, and based on that, the data is generated in the output profile, and that output profile is nothing but formula profile. It is based on the formula profile. So we have to basically connect the formula profile with the input profile. That means there has to be at least one input profile containing the data. Then only you can say there is a formula profile, and there can be also more than one input profile, and all these input profiles will have the data, and based on the data and the formula, the data will be generated in the formula profile. Now, to understand this concept, we will use two examples. One, making use of formula copy01. Although we have used this before, there we did not create any profile. System actually creates the profile in the background and then uses the data and then shows it in the RTP, analysis in the billing document. So, but here upfront we will create the profiles and then see how they work actually. One is copy01, where you have the input profile containing the data in the form of KWH, and then based on this there will be two output profiles, copy as energy and then copy as demand. So we have to create two output profiles, one calling it as copy as energy profile and one calling it as copy as demand, and both these output profiles are created with the same formula, and then they are connected with the input profile that is containing the data. So the input profile is created and these are the output profiles which are basically connected to input profile, and both input and output profiles are created are assigned together using a formula allocation. That means how the system will know these are the input profiles and these are the output profiles. That is through the formula allocation, and we execute the formula allocation to generate the data for the synthetic profile. That means what we're executing is basically the formula allocation so that based on that, the data is generated in the output profile. That is formula profile. We also will see second example, which is called limit 0 to limit 0 to. This is a formula profiles. So there will be three input profiles. There will be three input profiles. Basically, the consumption energy profile, actual consumption energy data profile. Then there will be something called limit profile. And there will be a price profile. So three input profiles will have consumption energy data, limit profile. Both limit profile and consumption energy data will be in the same unit, kWh. Price profile will be in the currency, like Indian rupees per kilowatt hour. And then three output profiles. In the three output profiles, we will have three profiles created using the same formula. That is consumption below the limit, consumption below limit, consumption above limit, consumption above limit, and then amount for consumption above the limit, amount for the consumption above the limit. Okay, so how it will work, we will see. So first what we'll do, we will go and work on the copy 01 so that you understand that, and then we will work on the limit 02. So we go to the EDM, profile management, profile header, create. So I'm calling it as input profile containing kWh values. Here it is historical profile. This is actually containing data. It's a historical profile. So valid from 1st of January, 15 minutes, quantity, kWh, 2 decimal places, cumulative value. Now we will save it. Profile 161 has been created. Now create output profile. So we'll say copy energy data. This will be formula profile. The output is always there. Copy the formula profile. So I'm creating a new profile and calling it as copy energy data 60 electricity, and then profile type is formula profile. So we have filled up all this data. Yeah. Now we'll go to details. Here, formula for the profile calculation. If you see, there is a formula copy 01. Copy one profile into two output profile. So right now what we're creating is the first output profile. status check group, value valid, changed, entered manually. The formula allocation system will create, okay, and allocation of output parameter. That means each output profile will have a allocation of output. I mean, either the first output or second output, and also a formula allocation is created automatically. Allocation we are saying from 0101 2020. So here you can see the input parameters. Input parameters is a consumption profile. What we should have already created, we have created 161, and at the moment what we're creating is the first output profile, that is profile number 162. Okay, what we're creating is profile number 162, copy of the consumption profile. So go to consumption profile, input, create. What is the profile we have created? That is 161. Enter. So now we can see the allocation of output parameter 1. This is the first output profile. This is the connection given to the input profile. And when you save it, it will create a formula allocation. It will create a formula allocation. Now we will save it. Now we'll go back to create the next output profile. Copy as demand values. Formula profile. Valid from. Now this second profile, output profile, will have the profile value category as demand. It is in KW, so it is in KW. And then here decimal places to no cumulative value. Go to details. Again, we are going to use the same formula, that is copy 01. Now here, formula allocation, what is created already, we will select. So
Excuse me.
yeah.
Yeah, when you were selecting that formula, and in this case, can you just show the drop down? What are the entries which are coming, sir?
Yeah, we will see that. So right now we'll finish this. So go to here the formula allocation is available. In the formula allocation, we can see copy 01. 161, we can see consumption profile 161, that is input profile KWH value, and then output profile parameter is 162, that is the profile what you already created. So right now what we're creating is the output profile, that is 163, and then this is the formula allocation 53. That means 53 is a formula allocation which is connecting the input profile with the output profile. Okay, so we have to select this particular formula allocation 53, and then from the date 01/01/2020. Now we can see it is showing the allocation of output parameter as 2. Okay, previously it was 1, it is 2. Now input profile already assigned, so right now what we're creating is output profile 163. The 161 is already assigned as input profile. This is the first output profile, the second output profile. Okay, now what are the other formulas we have got? We will see. You can have a look.
In this case, for copying the demand value, couldn't we have used this copy 02 function, sir, which copies the demand profile?
Yeah, then what is the difference between copy 01 and copy 02?
Copy 01 will also means they will take into account the consumption profile as well, but copy 0 for name suggests it will copy only the demand profile.
Yeah,
That
but
is
we
not
want
taken into account.
energy and demand both. So that's why you are using copy 01.
Okay. But alternatively, when we want demand, we can also use this
Yeah.
copy 02.
Yes, you're
Only
right.
if that is the requirement then.
Yeah. Yes. It will create only one output profile.
Okay.
Okay. So now we will save it. Okay. So the allocation 53 has been saved and the second output profile is created. So we have created 161, 162 and then 163. Now we can just put the value in input profile and then we can generate the data for the output profile. Now what we'll do here, we will take just one of the value data. Let's say for example 149. Okay, let's assume this is the input profile. We will copy this. This is the KWH value, copy, and then go and put this data in the input profile. We will choose 1 day for testing purpose. That means we'll enter the data for 1 day. The same way the data will be generated for the same day. Okay. So we'll go to profile values and then change. And our profile is 161. 161 and selection date 01. We will put the data for any 1 day. We'll use the same date to generate the data. Let's say I'm putting the data for 05 01 2020 05 01 2020. That means I'm just entering 1 day data to test the concept. So I'm providing the input data for 5th of January. Select it and then paste and then save it. So profile data is saved for 161. Now we can go to the profile header in the change mode and then go to the profile. I think we can go to display mode. Now select any profile which is the output profile. That means you can select input output profile 162 or 163 because all profiles are integrated into formula allocation. So we will say profile number 162. Selection date is 01/01 2020 to 31/12/999 and then go to 162, go to details. So here allocation selection we are taking for 05/01 2020. Now there is one button here which is called execute the allocation. You can see there is like a calculator symbol. Calculate the formula allocation. Okay, that means you can process the allocation formula to process the data for output profile. It will generate the data. So go to execute formula allocation. We are executing allocation 53 and from which date to which date. Now our date should be matching with the input profile data. Okay. If you put let's say 01 to 01 2022 to 31st of January 2020. Accordingly, our execution also should happen for 01/01 2022 to 31st January 2020. Okay, but here our input profile is available for 05/01 2020 05/01 2020. Enter and then execute the formula allocation, synchronous calculation. The synchronous calculation means you are actually executing the calculation within the one of the output profile. It's called synchronous calculation. there is a calculation workbench which is called asynchronous calculation. That means you can also execute outside the profiles using the workbench, where you can give the formula allocation number and then execute the workbench. Basically, the same activity will happen outside the profile. That's called asynchronous calculation. So here we will select synchronous calculation and then execute. Calculation is taking place. Now it is saying formula allocation 53 from 0501 to 0501 has been carried out. Okay. Now it means the data has been generated for both 162 and 163. So let's see whether data has been generated. Go to formula value display mode and then select profile number 161. This is the input profile. So 0501 2020 0501 2020. This is our input profile. Okay, this is the data what you put. Now we will put 162. Select it and then select 163 and then select. So now we have all the three profiles available. Here 161 is input, 162 is output, and 163 is the second output. Now the first profile is copying the data as it is. Okay, 0.21, 0.21, 0.21. Now the output profile is generating for the 163 with the demand value. Okay, so each value is taken into 4 and then we'll apply the output profile value is generated. Now here we have created the output profile ourselves upfront, but when you executed the RTP, that time what happened? We will have only 161 as a profile, which are assigned to input profile. System will do the formula allocation, create two output profiles, keep it in the memory, and use this particular data to calculate the on-peak quantity, mid-peak quantity, off-peak quantity. And then from the 163, you can say what is the peak value. Okay, so you can see here the peak values. Peak value is coming to peak value energy is 252. But if you say the 163, for example, if you said 163, the peak value is coming to 2.52. That means that is the peak demand which is available in this particular set of values. Okay, that's the meaning of 2.52. That's how the system will generate. So basic idea is that using the formula copy 01, it is generating two output profiles. Here we have done upfront the creation of output profiles to see how it is working. Okay, but this activity will actually happen in the RTP in the background. It will generate the two output profiles, generate the value, and use that information in terms of basically providing us the output, the data, which is basically your on peak, mid peak, off peak, and then the demand values. Okay, this is how it is working. Now we will see the second example, which is limit 02. Limit 02 concept is we will have one input profile which is containing the actual consumption energy value. Okay, what customer has consumed, maybe using the interval meter, we have the data. Now the energy company, based on the previous consumptions, they have set the limit. Okay, that means for the residential consumers, depending on the previous consumptions, they have set a limit. Set a limit in the sense, let's say from morning 7 to 12, the consumption limit is given. That means you are consuming, let us say, on an average 0.3 or 0.4. Okay, so the limit is given as 0.4. Okay, that means consumptions up to 0.4 are considered for billing with the existing price. That means here you are not taking on peak, off peak, mid peak. You will have only two amounts calculated. One is consumption for the values up to limit or below limit. Okay, let's say if you have put a limit as 0.4, and if the interval values are coming 0.32, 0.33, 0.35, but one of the value or some values are coming as 0.5, 0.45, 0.6, then what it will do, it will have two output profiles. consumptions equal to below the limit and equal to limit. That's one value. And then consumptions above the limit. That means wherever consumers are consuming more than the limit, there it will calculate how much consumer has consumed more than limit. Then there will be a price profile. Wherever the consumption has gone above the limit, that will be multiplied with the consumption above the limit and the amount is calculated. So suppose if you are using this particular concept in the RTP, then what will be the output of the RTP? The output of the RTP can be two. One is consumptions of the quantity below or equal to limit, that is passed on to an operand in the billing. The third output is consumption above the limit. That means in the formula itself, system is calculating what is above limit, that is transferred to an operand amount in the billing calculation. So one billing value will be consumption below or above the limit, that amount consumer has to pay, and then for consumption above the limit. Okay. So this is called spot pricing. Spot pricing means for the particular intervals we set the limit prices. As long as consumer is consuming below or up to the limit, that is billed with one price, and where a consumer is consuming more than the limit, that will be billed with the additional price. Okay, that means for consuming above the limit you have to pay 5 rupees extra. Let's say for example we have got the values something like this, the actual limit value 2, 2, 3, 3, 4, 3, 2, 5, just random I'm giving. Now here I'm putting the limit as 3. Okay, here also 3, here also 3, here also 3, and here I'm putting the limit as 5. So here also 5, here also 5, here also 5, or let's say here 4 and then 3 and then 4, just randomly I'm putting to understand. So this is the input profile. What is the input profile? That's the actual consumption data. This is the limit profile. Then I have a price profile. That is the input profile. That's one kind of input profile. And the price I'm putting it as 5 rupees. Okay, this is 5 rupees. Now, based on the formula allocation, we'll create 3 output profiles. Consumption below limit, consumption below limit, this is above limit, and this is amount for the consumption above the limit. Now here, input is 2, limit is 3. So what is the below limit here? It is 2. And then here it is 2, here it is 3. Again here also below limit 2. Here it is 3, here it is 3. So it is 3. But here it is 3 and limit is 5. Okay. Now limit 5 includes two values. Consumption equal to or below limit, that is 3, and the difference, consumption above the limit. So this 5 will be divided into two values. One is 3 and consumption above limit is 2. That means the 5 limit contains here value as 5. Agreed consumption was 3 limit, 3 kilowatt hour. So basically up in the 5 up to 3 we are billing with one price. So that is available, consumption below or equal to limit. But what is the difference between the limit and the limit and the actual value? It is 2, consumption above the limit. So here also it is 4 and then 5. So here it will be again 4 only. And then here it is 3 and 4. It is 3. And then here it is 2 and 3. Okay. So here also it will be 2. And here 5 and 4. Okay. Or let's say it is 6. Okay. Then what will happen? The 6 will contain below the limit as 5 and consumption above the limit as 1. So what is the amount here? The amount will be here 2 into 5 rupees, that is 10 rupees. And then here 1 into 5, it is 5 rupees. Now, what is the sum total of the below limit? So if you select here, this will be the limit total 24. And what is the amount consumption above the limit? It is going to be 15. Okay. Now, this 24 will be passed on to an operand in quantity 01, where it will be 24 into, let's say, 10 rupees. That is 240 rupees. And this value amount will be transferred to another operand in the what you call our rate, which is amount itself. Input itself is amount. So amount is 15 and output is 15. That means the total value what customer has to pay will be 255. Okay. So that means we are considering no on peak, off peak, mid peak here, spot pricing. We have fixed one price wherever, as long as you are consuming equal to limit or below the limit, we will bill you with one price. But wherever you are exceeding the limit, you have to pay additional amount. So in this case, there are three output profiles: consumption below limit, consumption above limit, and then amount. Okay. So how this will work in the system, we will see. So first what we'll do, we'll create three input profiles. So go to EDM, create input profile 1, kWh, historical profile, so 1st of January 2020, 15 minutes, profile value category quantity, 15 kWh, decimal places to cumulative values. This is 164. Then input profile 2, limit values. So input file number 2, limit values. Historical profile. Now limit values also will be in 15 minutes and they also will be in kilowatt hour. Profile value category, quantity to cumulative, and then save it. 165 has been saved. Now we'll create the third one, input profile. Input profile 3, price profile. We'll call it as price profile. Zero one 2020, and then here interval length is 15 minutes. Now here in the profile value category, you have to select price. Okay, the parameter is price. So our measurement will be in kilowatt hour and the price will be in Indian rupees, INR. Decimal places 2 and then cumulative values. The price cumulative is not required, so price is 2. Okay, decimal places. So the third output profile is basically the price profile, 1st of January 2020, 15, 4, price value category, 2, measurement, everything is okay. Now save it. So we have created 164, 165, 166. Okay. In this case, it is 164, 165, 166. These are the three input profiles. Now we'll create three output profiles, and all the three will belong to the same formula. And then we will connect the input profile with the output profiles. Go to create. So consumption below limit, consumption below limit, output 1. And then profile type is formula profile, consistency check group. Interval length is going to be 15 minutes. The consumption below limit means it is in energy. So we will select quantity kWh, decimal places to cumulative value. And then go to details. And then here using the formula for the profile calculation as limit 02. That is limit 02, consumption above or below limit and the spot price valuation. Select here, status group from the date 01/01/2020. Now here you can see based on the formula it is saying these are the possible input parameters and these are the output parameters. There has to be three input profiles: measured consumption, limit, and the price. Select here, create the assignment. So our first input profile is 164. The limit is 165. And the third one is the price 166. So at the moment, what it is creating is the first output profile, that is consumption below the limit. That means 167 is the output parameter number 1. That is 167 consumption below the limit. So now we will save it. Then we will create the second output profile, consumption above the limit, consumption above limit. Profile type is formula profile, consistency check 01/01/2020. Now this will be also quantity only because it is energy, kWh, decimal places to cumulative value. So 1st of January, 15 minutes quantity to cumulative value, and then this is this details. Now here we are using again the same formula, limit 02, status group. Now formula allocation has been created already. We have to assign it. So 01/01/2020. And if you go here, you can see a new formula allocation 54. Okay. The formula allocation 54 is connecting the input parameters and output parameters. So formula allocation 54 has got three input profiles. That is 164, 165, 166. And we already created 167. That is the first, the below limit, 167. Now consumption below the limit is already created. Now what we're creating is this. This is 54. This is above the limit. Okay, select here. And then this will be second parameter, output number 2. Okay, this is output parameter number 2. That means first output profile is 167 and the second output parameter is created as above the limit. Okay, above the limit is 168. Okay, and here this is output parameter number 2 and the formula allocation is 54. Now save it. Now we will create the third output profile, amount below limit, amount below limit, formula profile, consistency check group 01/01/2020. Interval length is 15 minutes. Profile value category will be here amount. Okay, that means it will be an amount INR, and then decimal places to cumulative values, and then go to the details. Limit 0 to status group from date 01/01/2020. Now, what is the formula allocation? Same 54. We are going to connect the 54. So here we can see 167, 168 already created. Okay. So right now what we're creating is 169. That is consumption above the limit. This is the allocation 54. That is output parameter number 3. We can see it is showing output parameter number 3. That is, it is this particular profile 169. So now we will save it. So we have created 3 input profiles, 3 output profiles, and we are connected through the formula allocation number 54. Now we have to have the data in the input profiles. We have 3 input profiles, that is 164, 165, and 166. We will put the data in this. Then you can generate the data for 167, 168, 169. Now let me see whether I can use this particular. If I use the same one, you may not be able to differentiate. Okay, we'll do one thing. We'll just have complete value so that it will be easy for you to understand. So let us say 2. So here we'll give limit as 3. Now we'll just copy for the remaining just to see the concept how it is coming. So for all this, I have put the same data. That means this is our what we call the input profile number 164. That is actual consumption. This is the limit, and then price profile we will say 5 rupees. It is 5 everywhere. It can vary, but for our simplicity, I'm taking one price. So put all this data. So here I put. Now I will put this value in the first input profile. That is our input profile number 164, which is the actual consumption value. That's the input value, copy. So our first input profile is 164. So go to profile values, change profile number 164. We will choose one day so that you can test it. So I'm putting the data for 05/01/2020, 05/01/2020. Select it here and then paste. So this is our input profile. So now save it. Now I'll put the data for 165, which is the limit. 165. This is the data. Now we will go to 166. Now in 166, what I will do, 0501, I will select the particular value and then go to copy, carry out mass change. For all of them, I'll give 5 rupees as a value. Okay, instead of copying and pasting, just I want to show you the functionality here. So for 166, select here, operation replace with the value 5, with the value 5 rupees, starting from 5th of January midnight to 5th of January 23:59. So 5 rupees is put here. Now save it. So our input profiles are ready. 164 is the actual consumption value, and then 165 is the limit value, and then 166, this is the consumption value, this is the limit value, and this is a basically the consumption price below the limit. Okay, consumption price above the limit, 166. Now save it. Now we will go to any of the output profile and then generate the data. So what are our output profiles in the case? It is 167, 168, 169. Okay, so we will go to 167, profile number 167, selection date 0501 2020, 0501 2020. So select here and then go to details. We are generating the data for 0501 2020. Now we will say we will like to generate the data. Okay, select the calculate the formula allocation. We are calculating the allocation number 54 for the date 0501 2020, 0501 2020. Now generate. So formula allocation has been carried out. Now we will see what are the output profiles. Go to profile value, display. So our first profile here is 167. Okay, what we'll do, we'll put the limit, we'll put the input value, 2 parameters, that is actual consumption, limit. Then we'll put the 2 output profiles below and above limit to understand how they are connected. So our first input profile is 164, which is from 0501 2020, 0501 2020. Select here. So this is the actual consumption value. Okay. Now 165 is our limit profile. Okay. Select the limit profile. So these are the limit. Now we'll go to 167. That is the first output profile, which is consumption below the limit. Okay, because 166 is the price profile. We know it is 5 rupees. So 167, which is showing here the value generated, and 168, which is consumption above the limit. Okay, consumption above the limit. Now we will compare them. So input profile 2, limit is 3. So what is the consumption below limit? It is 2. Okay, in all the cases it's coming 2. But now let us see here. Here the limit is 2, the actual consumption is 2, the limit is 3. Okay, here you will see actual consumption is 3, but yeah, we'll take the actual consumption is 3, but the limit is 2. So what are the values now for the output profiles? Consumption below limit will have the value as 2 and consumption above the limit as 1. Okay, because this 3 is the actual consumption, which is now divided into 2 parts. What is the consumption up to limit? Consumer is allowed to consume anyway 2 up to 2 with the same price. So that is the output value here. But consumption above the limit is 1. Okay, that means in every interval data, it will check with the limit. As long as it is equal to below the limit, it will put the data in 167. And if the consumption is going above the limit, then it will have data in 167 up to the limit what is allowed, and then the extra in 168. Now in 169 output profile, it will calculate the amount for situations where it is above the limit. Okay, so now if I put here 168, 169, that is the amount profile. Okay, consumption above the limit, select 169. Now here you can see most of the early values are not having any consumption above the limit. But here you can see it is showing the price as 5 rupees. That means this 1 kilowatt hour into 5, it is 5. So like this, if you see, you will have two profiles actually, which are the importance to us. Consumption below limit, what is the total value? And consumption above the limit, amount. End of the day, we are interested in two outputs. What is the total consumption below limit and amount for the consumption above the limit. So that means if I specifically select here the output profiles 167, that's the first output profile, consumption below limit, and then 169, that is a above the limit amount. Okay, and if you see the value, you will see the total values. You can say display total value per day. So the total consumption for the day below or equal to limit is 279. Okay, that means 279 is just adding the values which are all equal to or below the limit, and then amount for the consumption above limit is 285. So this 279 will go to the operand in the rate calculation, 279 kilowatt hour into 10 rupees per kilowatt hour, that is 2790. Okay, that's the amount, plus whatever consumption has happened above the limit. What's the value? It is 285. It is sent to 285. So the customer has to pay these two amounts put together. Okay, so this kind of pricing is called spot pricing. Spot pricing means here, of course, you have taken the price same everywhere, 5 rupees, but it won't be like that. Okay, the price also will be fixed according to the situations. During the on peak, if you consume more, then you have to pay more. I mean, if you consume more than the limit, you have to pay more. Mid peak, maybe consumption above the limit, price may be lesser. In off peak, it may be even lesser. Okay, that means we are safeguarding our interest. As long as customer is consuming below the limit, we know, because you are generating anyway according to that requirement, but you also keep generating some surplus energy. But if consumer is consuming above the limit, then only you will charge it, otherwise you will not charge it. So this is basically called spot pricing. So if tomorrow, suppose if you are going to fit this in RTP, how you will design the RTP? Okay, so just think about it. I'll give you the document. I'll prepare the document and give it to you. You can try to fix it in the RTP. One of the days I'll do it and then show it to you. Same information I want to do in billing RTP. Okay, but there output profiles you don't have to create. We have to give only 3 input profiles. The difference between the first RTP and the second RTP is, in the first RTP you had only 1 input profile. So in the second situation, we have got 3 input profiles. One is consumption below limit, one is the actual consumption, one is the limit profile, one is the price profile. The output profiles we don't have to create. System will create in the background, allocation will happen, it will calculate the value, and then what will be the output of the RTP? Output of the RTP will be 2. That is basically, one is the consumptions for values equal to or below the limit, and one the amount for the consumption above the limit. So this you can fit it in the your pricing calculation. So just think how you design the RTP. I'll show it to you one of these days. Okay. So we are completed the farmer profile. So we have done the EDM where we have seen different types of profiles, how to use them and how to fix them in the RTP. Now moving forward from tomorrow, we'll start with work management. Okay. Work management is a industry specific plant maintenance module which is available in ISU. It is enhancing the capability of plant maintenance to prepare automatically the notifications in the situations like disconnection, reconnection, control metering order, or interim metering order. Okay. So once you finish the work management, we'll go back to device management, start working on the metering validation, control metering order, interim metering billing. Okay. Then we start working on the other billing options like street light billing, demand billing, discount and surcharges, how to do period end billing. Okay. So tomorrow onwards we'll start with the work management. Okay.
Hello.
Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sir, what you showed today, and
Mhm.
there's one tool, sir, that for the say, for example, for the consumption up to the limit, we are
Uh-huh.
calculating unit consumed, and then it will the calculation will be done as per the operand configuration.
Yeah. Yeah.
That is correct. So, can
Yeah.
we complete that process, sir? Now,
Which one?
that operand configuration wherein the
That
just
no, I want you to first think about it.
okay,
How it will be done. You do some homework so that
okay,
we can discuss it after doing certain stage. Meanwhile, I'll also structure it and keep it ready so that I can show it to you.
okay, fine, sir.
Okay. Yeah,
Okay,
sure.
thank you.
Okay.
Hello.
Yeah.